Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and this is my co-host, Ron, my husband. Hopefully some of you know him. And we just got back about less than 2 hours ago from a long week of McPike Mansion. Then we went to Ashmore Estates.
Yep.
And I want to thank Susan and Mike for inviting us, Carl and Gary, and for inviting David and Charlie.
Holy cow,
we had the best time ever, and we can't wait to do it again somewhere else, of course. And so we had a great time and want to do it again soon. So
we had tons of fun.
And just to let everybody know, we had zero problems getting home.
Hey, Susan and Mike
and
Cat.
Hey, Kevin.
Tom. Cat Gash. Nigel. Kevin, my cousin.
So tomorrow night when we're on with Carl, we're going to talk about some of the stuff that we did, because we did an experiment that was given to us by Sharon Day, who's our guest tomorrow night. So make sure you tune in tomorrow night to hear more. But we got a great guest tonight, and I have never interviewed Rick McCallum. Kat always does that. And this is the first time that I'm having him on. All him and I have ever done was a long time ago, and he may not even remember it. We messaged back and forth a little bit. So other than that, we're going to have Rick on, and we're going to needle him and get some information on Kat so we can use against her later on. So I'd like to welcome Rick McCallum to the show.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Rick.
Hello. So, as you can see, Kat's already here. So that let the secrets start flowing.
And, I would never tell a secret of cats. That would have serious repercussions.
I'm sorry, but you know what? I probably already know them, and if I haven't shared them, they're not that good.
Oh, they're good. We got some good ones, and I will share some tonight.
Well, we wanted to talk to you for a lot of different reasons. You know, you've got such great stories that you've shared with Kat, and I know that my audience hasn't heard them, so I know there'll be new stories for them. You also have some great stories about when you were on Ghost Adventures, and I have my stories from when I was on there. And I know that you have a book called Ghosts Believe in Me, and it sounds like a really good book. I work too much to read enough. I have hundreds of books here. I just don't have time for them all. And let's see. And you're doing another overseas tour in the UK that we want to hear about, the last two and the one coming up.
Well, I've only done one, and that was in Scotland. And the last one was an invitation-only tour, and it was me, Kat, Lori, Mikey Thompson, and his wife Julie. So we actually went on our own tour, and I set it up all the places that they had wanted to go, and we got into some magnificent places that other people don't. Fortunately, I did have some good contacts that were able to hook us up. So. And Scotland, next time I go will be my 14th time going there. And yeah, and I mean, I've made a lot of really good friends there, which helps at getting into places.
But your next one is in Ireland, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be, let me see exactly what the name of this thing is. It's Secret Ireland Tours. And this actually is the thing. If you want to click on that, that'll tell you all the stuff you need to know.
I don't want anybody to click on it because
don't do that yet.
Yeah, don't do that yet. We might want to go.
We got to book ours first.
Yeah, we got to book ours.
Well, you should come. You should come. Kat's coming. Lori's coming. You know, Mikey. The whole crew's going.
That's what I said. If we went over on one of those trips to Europe, I said I want to go with you guys.
It should be a lot of fun.
Even though the one before you, that's Haunted Ireland with Vanessa Hogel, that one would be great too. We're really good friends, but she sold out. But you're going to be sold out. You are going to be sold out.
Yeah, it's just good there.
Yeah, we're giving up our granddaughter's birthday to come spend it with you. So you better make.
Sign up. Let's get going.
Kat and us talked about it.
Just found out last week, didn't we?
Yeah, Kat told me more about it on Wednesday when we were covering for Carl for being late.
Yeah,
those damn producers can never show up on time. So,
listen, Carl.
And I went and looked at it. I know I'm getting a finger back there, but yeah, we're really interested in going. In fact, we're working on getting our passport updated right now too. So, because we're going on our very first cruise.
Nice.
So, when you went on your Scotland tour, which place was your favorite?
Hi, Sonia. Well, without a doubt, it's the same as I always say, Balgony Castle. And we had something happen at Balgony Castle that was just absolutely amazing. Kat and I actually wrote a little article for Fate magazine, which is supposed to be coming out, of something that happened at Balgony. Now, there's a backstory to it. Had a lot of friends that, the Scottish Paranormal people, which I'm a member of now. I'm a lifetime member. We had gone to this place and I met the Laird, who is mid 70s, closing in on 80, I guess. And for some reason, he took an instant liking to me and I took an instant liking to him. And I mean, it was really strange how bonded we became. And he showed me all around the castle, and I had just fallen and really blown out my knees. So I was limping quite a bit. And he says to me, can you get up 3 flights of stairs with that knee? And I said, you got handrail? He goes, yeah. I said, yeah, I can do it. So he goes, I'm going to show you my private residence. And we're going up now. Ryan and Greg. Ryan is on the TV show Haunted Scotland. And Gregor has written 23 books about Scotland. So, I mean, they know a little bit about this place. And as we're going up the stairs, one of them whispered to me, he goes, he's never taken us up there. So it was just weird how the bond was so strong instantly that when we met. So he takes us up there, and this place is amazing. There's 31 crests of the former lairds painted into the ceiling, and they're like 2 foot by 2 foot. And the laird had painted every single one of them. Right. So it's, it was an amazing place, but we became really, really good friends. And this last time we had gone, I mean, there's more, but I won't bore everybody. There was another time when I went there and he was in a hospital bed, and we were actually shooting a thing for later on for Dark Zone. And he was looking up, and I didn't know if he would remember me because it had been a couple of years because of COVID. And we're all sitting there, and he's there. He's getting introduced to everybody. And when it comes down to me, we're all standing by the bed. He looks up and he sticks his hand up to me, and he smiles and he grabs my hand. He pulls me down, and he whispers something to me. He's talking to me, and I stood up and I went, "I gotta go outside. There's a lot of dust in here." I didn't fool anybody. They all busted me. But when we went back this last time, and Kate and Lori, Kat and Lori can tell you, we went into this one place. We were the Americans came over to help ghost hunt was the idea of this place. And they assigned us this one room, which I had never really been into, and it was a museum room. And it was right next to the Laird's room downstairs where he did all of his woodworking and stuff. The guy was a fabulously talented man and everything, woodworking, leatherworking. I mean, just amazing. And just to show you what a cool dude he was, he actually made his own coffin. And he was a woodworker. And he put down there the date he was born, and left the other one for somebody else to fill in and bury him in this coffin. Well, when we went into this place, like I said, I'd never been in there. We put all of our equipment up. We had REM pods, and we had everything you can think of, K2 meters, and anything that could light up, we had in there. And Kat had a camera that she had just put new batteries in. She was trying to film. It kept dying. Mikey was handing her new fresh batteries, they would die. It was just killing everything. And I just asked, I said, are there any spirits in here that want to talk to us? And all the K2 meters went, all 5 lights are locked. I've never seen that before. There was 3 of us and they just locked. And as Kat said, the K2, the REM pod right behind her, she goes, it looked like fireworks. It was going off so bad. The other ones, all the Mel meters, everything else, the entire room instantly went boom, like an explosion, right? And I'm looking down, and I look up and I see Kat's looking at me, Lori's looking at me, Mikey's all looking at me like, when is this bonehead going to catch on? And then finally I just went, holy crap, it's the Laird, right? he's talking to me. And they're all going, about time you caught on. And I was like, but it was amazing how much all this stuff blew up at one instant. It was just, I've never seen anything like that. And I mean, it was really something. I had to try and keep from getting all blubbery over it, but it was really something. I've never seen anything like that. And I was trying to get him to back off so I could ask him questions on the K2s, but I turned mine off, turned it back on. They were all locked. I mean, every bit of, everything was just 100% on. So that was really cool. I actually, even Kat was saying, she goes, God, it takes you a long time to catch on. Like,
well, tell her you're used to following a script and you didn't have one.
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing. I mean, that was obviously him just coming to tell me goodbye. And it was really touched me, I'll tell you. And by the way, when you said I had written a book, I've written 2. The 3rd one's on the way. And the first book actually won the Paranormal Book of the Year award. And that was Ghosts Believe in Me. So.
And what's the name of the second book?
The spirits are out there and they're waiting for you.
Okay. And do you have a name for the 3rd one yet?
Well, I'm thinking about it. I think I might put down my guardian angel just called for backup.
Oh, I think mine needs some. So that is an excellent story. And are you going to go back to Balgony Castle again?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I doubt if I'll have any interaction with him, because I think he's gone now, and he said his goodbye to me, and that really touched me. I mean, it really, really did. And
that was my feeling when you said that. When you were talking about him, I felt like that if you went back there, he wouldn't be there. That's why I asked.
Yeah, well, there's more to him than meets the eye. The whole place has Knights Templar stuff everywhere, and I've always been fascinated with Knights Templar. And I told him that. He just kind of smiled at me. And after he passed away, he told me, I can tell you now, he told me a secret. He says, can you keep a secret? And I said, yes. And he told me this secret. And he said, I'm not sure I'll get the right number, but he said there's 227 living Knights Templar in the United States. And I looked at him and I said, really, how do you know that? And he goes, because I'm in charge of them. And I was like, holy crap, now that's a secret, right? I had a hard time not telling anybody. And when I went back the last time, he says to me, he goes, did you keep my secret? And I said, yeah, I did. And I said, it wasn't easy. Why can't you give me something easier that I don't want to tell everybody? And he goes, well, here's the last half of it. He goes, there's Knights Templar all around the world. I said, how do you know that? He goes, because I'm in charge of them. So it was pretty much telling me that he was the Grand Master of the Knights Templar. And that was my buddy. I mean, it was like, you got to be kidding me. And I wouldn't have said anything about it even then, but it talked about his connection with the Knights Templar in his, in his epitaph, in his obituary. So I don't mind talking about it now. So I'm not really spilling anything, but talk about an amazing friend to have.
Did you not interview him, but you know what I mean? Did you talk to him about that some more, just between you and him, more personal, to get information?
He always made a habit of telling me this just when I had to leave.
Oh, to where you couldn't expound upon any questions.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's the way you wanted to keep it. And the next time I was going to grill him, get him aside, but sadly he passed. So.
Well, it sounds like he had a long and interesting life if he was part of the Knights Templar.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah. I mean, like I said, the castle is just filled with Knights Templar memorabilia. So that's pretty cool.
We have a question here from Kat. When you visited the Great Hall at Edinburgh Castle, did you have any experiences there? Because when she said she did when she visited, and then she said thank you.
Actually, I didn't have any when I was there because it was just way too crowded. I mean, the day that I went there, I mean, it was like everybody was pushing people along, so did not have anything in there. And it was really kind of more shove you through, and then wasn't really a big fan of Edinburgh Castle, just to be honest with you. I mean, it's really cool to see everything, but you can't ghost hunt in there at all. Matter of fact, they won't let you.
Well, so, it sounds like places here that won't let you.
But I can understand how she might pick up on something, and because I get a lot of stuff at castles when I'm just walking through them, like, whoa, what was that? I do have a story to tell you that this is something. Something happened in Inverness, and it's well, thank you. I'm glad is that that must be one of my guardian angels. I know I have a whole bunch of them because I'm such a knucklehead. I need more than one. But we went to Inverness, and we went, and I'd been walking all day, and I need 2 knee replacements, so my knees are not the best. And we'd walked about 9 miles, according to Lori telling us, because she had a thing set up, an app for about how far we were walking. And we're in this matter of fact, we were the first person ever to ghost hunt this place. We were there with Liam Shand and his Highland Paranormal group. They're a TAPS group, and he took us there. And we'd been there for about an hour, and I was going around with my K2 meter, and it got nothing, wouldn't go off at all. So I went over, and I'm standing there, and I'm looking all over for some place to sit down, and there's nothing. And finally, I just happened to look down next to me, and there was a tombstone that looked like a bench. And I just looked down, and I said, I mean no disrespect, but my knees can't take another minute of this. I have to sit down. I sat down, and instantly the K2 went 5 lights. And the girl was like, whoa. I said, are you trying to tell me to get off? 5 lights instantly. And I said, can I ask a favor? Can I just sit here for 30 seconds, right? Let my knees feel better. And it goes off like 3 and just goes like that. So I wait, and about 30 seconds later, it goes 5 lights again. I said, are you telling me to get off? And it goes 5 lights instantly again. And I said, do it again right now and I'll get off. Bam, instantly. I said, I'm up. Right. So, I mean, I have never had that kind of instant and total interaction with something that was so obviously the guy in the ground. I mean, I'd never had anything like that. I actually told Kat, I said, after what happened at Balgony and after what happened here, this was night after night. I said, I might just stop ghost hunting. She goes, no, you won't. And I said, when am I ever going to have 2 days like that again?
Right.
And she goes, well, now here's one thing. And she put down there, she goes, yeah, but you will keep going because now you know. And I was like, I already knew, but now I really know.
Right.
Just wait till we get to Ireland.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. There's a couple places that I've been that I can tell you are really haunted. I mean, you put something in the blurb about Leap Castle. That was something. And the other one that was even more haunted than Leap Castle.
So
about
Tom,
to answer this one, Tom, for you, is the Hellfire Club. And that place is major haunted. And my relative, John Wilkes, was actually a member of the Hellfire Club. And he was also Lord Mayor of London, and he was a member of Parliament. And he was always having battles with the king, so they threw him out of everything. And he actually gave a lot of money in support to the Americans during the Revolutionary War. Matter of fact, one of the cities is named after him and another guy, and that's Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. So, but I went in there and they had a Frank's box because I was with Scottish Paranormal, and they had a Frank's box, and they were trying to get some stuff. They weren't getting anything, and I just said, "Can I try?" And they said, "Sure." And I said, "My name is Rick. I'm from the United States of America, and I came here to talk to my relative, John Wilkes," right? And it doesn't say anything. I said, "Yeah, John, are you here? I'd really like to say hello to you." And it goes, "Relative?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm your relative," right? And it goes, "Hi, Rick." And I'm looking at the other people, their eyes are open like this, right? And I'm like, "Wow, this is amazing." And I said, the next thing I said to him, I says, "I have to ask you something, and this will prove to me that you're a relative. Did you really dress a baboon up like Satan and turn him loose into the parties?" And it goes, "Baboon." And I looked over and I said, "This is going to be the most amazing piece of tape ever." And they said, "Oh, we're not recording." And I went,
"Of course not.
I'm going to kill you." But that was amazing. And that happened at Hellfire Club, where we'll be going. And I'm really looking forward to this because some of the places that we have are just really something to see. So I'm really looking forward to getting out there. Now, I'm glad to hear you guys are coming.
Yeah, we saw, I remember Scariest Places on Earth with Linda Blair, and they went to Charlieville, and that's on the list. And it's like, that would be interesting, especially since how long ago was that show? And now here's a chance to go there. And, because we always ask a question to a lot of our guests is, do you think that there's an expiration date on how long spirits can be around? And I think I got the answer to my question recently. But
and what was it?
Well, so long story short, I have a granddaughter named Clover. And I have been saying that since she was born, that she's an old soul. Okay. My mom, I have not witnessed her at all, except for one day I thought I heard her footsteps in the hospital, and it was in a hospital that she wouldn't have died in, but she would have went there when I had a baby. And I was in that same hospital. They don't do babies anymore, but I had surgery and was in the same room that I was in when I had one of my kids. And I heard her come in, check on me, and leave. And I haven't witnessed her since. Well, Clover was born, and we had an instant connection. And I know that with grandparents, you do that. I mean, I'm talking, I lived with that kid for more than a year and a half every day. I was her main caretaker because my daughter had some postpartum depression. Her husband started a new job. They didn't have time to do all this stuff. And I would stay up with her all night and, work all day and work half the night, whatever I had to do to make sure she was taken care of. Well, they moved to South Carolina not that long ago. And she went and they had a record player in the house. Okay. We know what time it is. Most people don't even have a record player, but it's an old record player with old records. Clover likes Elvis Christmas, especially. She likes George Jones. She likes bluegrass. She likes Johnny Cash. She likes all this stuff that a 3-year-old should not like. Okay. She also knew how to put the record on there and play it on her own. Nobody ever showed her. So I think that my mom is somehow, some way, her soul is in Clover, because every time I'm with Clover, she's all over me like stink on shit. Okay. She looks at me like she knows what I'm going to say. She understands everything I'm saying. She never seems to not understand. So I think that when my mom decided that this is where she was going to go so she could be close to me, I think that that's what happened, is why nobody's experiencing my mom firsthand. It's because she has found her new life.
Kat just said the door just moved behind you.
Yeah, it's a cat going in or out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you've already seen two of them as it is. I mean, we just got back, so they're all over us like stink on shit. But yeah, I think that maybe when they figure out that they want to go on is when we stop seeing them.
I agree with you 100%. I think they can hang around as long as they want, but I think they actually cross over when they decide to.
I mean, it makes me feel better to know that my mom's not just hanging around trying to solve whatever problem she thinks she needs to solve. Well, so
it's nice when they come back when you really need them. And if I may interrupt a little bit, because this is kind of important, just as part, it goes with what you're saying. I was driving from going to Nashville, and my dad had passed away. Now, my dad would wear amazing amounts of cologne, and just amazing. And I always called him, pardon my French, but I always called him, I could smell him coming out of his room 30 feet away. And I go, here comes the French horror. Right. But anyway, I was driving and I'm in the speed lane, and on the left is these big cement things where they're building stuff. Right.
Yeah.
On the right side is those double aluminum tankers or stainless steel tankers, gas tankers. And I'm going to go between them, and all of a sudden my brakes just go bam and just lock up. I mean, I almost go through the windshield. I mean, that's how much they slammed on the brakes. So the car's sliding and everything else. And finally, I look up, and the truck goes boom and hits the cement things. And I would have been right in the middle when the thing would have crushed me and killed me. And I'm holding on to like this, and as soon as the truck goes by, the brakes undo, and I go to the right. Fortunately, nobody was coming, but I'm walking down the street, driving down the road, and I mean, I'm like, so much adrenaline, and all of a sudden, the entire inside of the car filled up with the smell of Aramis. So I was like, "Oh, thanks, Pa." So, but yeah, it would have killed me. There's no doubt about it. So that's why I say sometimes, they do show up.
Yeah, I think that they do as well. My mom was in a really horrible accident long time ago, and she was driving a bright yellow car. Okay. You cannot miss it, on Interstate 81 up by Blacksburg, Virginia. And this 18-wheeler came across the median and hit her. And she said that she felt like she was taken out of the car and put back in it when it stopped. She had not one mark on her. The car was totaled. And she said, I felt like her mother and her husband had pulled her out of that car. And, so it's one of those really strange things that you can't explain. How is this car completely totaled, and how does she not have an injury? She had osteoporosis. She should have been hurt. So I don't know. They do come back to protect
people. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
So, if you guys have any questions for Rick, please feel free to put them in there, because otherwise I'm going to keep going and you guys are just going to get bombarded with Denise's weird question of the day.
Well, I can answer one. Yes, I really am that handsome.
Well, I guess I'll find out for sure when we get up there.
So how many places do you have scheduled in Ireland to visit?
Well, I can tell you here. It says Leap Castle, Wicklow Jail. We'll also go to North Ireland, visiting Crumlin Jail, the famous Giant's Causeway, and so much more. You visit the East and South too, visiting Hellfire's Club, the Rock of Cashel, Spike Island, and you'll stay in an authentic 18th century castle before you fly home. So
and don't we get to go to Bushmills too?
This was the very first one that she sent out, and she has updated it somewhat. So,
well, we got to set the over under on the betting odds for how many times Denise gets scratched. That's why I asked.
You get scratched a lot?
Everywhere.
Well, we'll see. I would say the place that would do that would be Hellfire Club.
Yeah,
because that place was really, really active.
That could be 2 or 3 on that one.
Matter of fact, if you've ever seen the cover of my book is me looking out the window of Hellfire Club.
Oh yeah, I saw that picture. That's the one that I used on the
yeah.
Blurb. But yeah, I have Irish family members. So
me too.
My whole family is apparently all they do is fight and can't hold their liquor. You know, they're Irish, English, German, and Indian.
Oh, that explains it.
Oh yeah, it does. We're all at fault. We're all at odds with each other all the time, and we can't hold our liquor, so it all works out.
You know what's really strange is I'm mostly Scottish. Right? As a matter of fact, I may be related to 3 kings of Scotland. Right? Who knows for sure though. But my grandfather's name was Kelly, so I always figured I was Scotch and Irish. Right? Well, when he passed away, we took him down to Paducah, Kentucky, to bury him, and we met his brother George Viholius, and we're like, "How can you be Viholius and Kelly?" And he goes, "Well, his name really is Kelly. Really is Viholius. When he came over on the boat, he came with the Kellys, and he just kept that name. So he was actually 100% Spartan. So I'm like Spartan, and there really is a Sparta, right? So he was 100% Spartan. And then the Scottish side, it's like, no wonder I'm so cranky half the time. It's like, but that lineage, criminy sakes.
So April, depending upon where the Scottish came from, be where we are. It could be where we're related, but I know that my dad was German, and English. I know that for sure because our family was on the House of Burgesses. I don't know much, but I know enough. But yeah, April's my cousin. Chris is my cousin. Ron's cousin's in here. Ron's mom's in here. So we have a family reunion every Monday night at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So,
feel like a long lost cousin.
You should. By the time we're done with all this, we're going to feel related in some way. So,
we will have a good time on the Ireland trip because the people I know that are coming are just really fun. 2 of my cousins are coming. The girl that was just on there, Gina Neal, she's coming. Stephanie will probably come with her because they're like Butch and Sundance. And then we've got Lori. I don't know if you know Lori or not. And,
I know of her.
Yeah. So we'll have a good group. A lot of fun people.
Marie's coming too.
Oh, I can't wait. I think it's going to be something nice, something fun to do. So what food is the best there in Ireland?
Well, I've only been in Ireland for 1 day.
Oh, okay.
And that was when I went the one time. And Stephanie will be there. Yeah. Can't have Butch without Sundance. So the food that we had was just pretty much regular food. Okay. So I think you'll have to be adventuresome and try some of the other stuff because we'll be there for 8 days, 9 days.
Oh.
So we get a lot of time to have some different kinds of chow.
Oh yeah.
There's one place that I really want to see. It's called the Giant's Causeway, and it's not paranormal, but it's all these rocks that are straight up and down. It looks like buildings, and they're all natural. I mean, it's really cool.
Huh.
So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to seeing.
You think they could have been placed there by aliens?
No, this is just, I mean, it actually goes into a tunnel in one place, I think. I mean, it's amazing. So not only will we get to see, I mean, we're getting a tour of Ireland, we're also getting to ghost hunt some pretty good places. So I'm really looking forward to it. I want to go right now.
Well, if I had my passport, I would want to go right now, but I gotta go vote first. You know,
Yeah.
Gotta rest it.
Yeah. I gotta rest up after the 9 days not in my own bed.
Yeah, it's you know, what's funny is that I've actually sleeping in a chair overnight at Balgony Castle and Leap Castle. So that's two of the most famous places around, and I'm just sitting there in a chair sleeping overnight.
Well, sometimes you got to go to sleep. You know, we finally went to bed at Ashmore Estates. I think it was 4 a.m. I told Ron, I said, I got to at least get a nap. You know, we were at McPike on the Saturday before, and we were up until 3 a.m. And I told him I wasn't even tired until I went back to the tent and laid down. You know, it's like, of course, it was like, what, 38 degrees?
Yeah,
It was cold. Yeah. So does it rain all the time in England or in Ireland?
I didn't hear what you said.
I said, did it rain the whole time? I mean, does it rain all the time in Ireland?
And it did rain when we were walking down from the Hellfire Club. Now, the Hellfire Club is a fairly steep walk up the hill. So, I mean, when you're coming back down the hill, and it was so funny because that was right after I'd hurt my knee. And this one girl actually came up and helped me get all the way down.
Well, that was nice. And Kat asks, why did you go to sleep in a chair at Leap Castle?
Because it was an overnight. And seeing as I'm from America, I didn't bring any overnight stuff. So I just grabbed a chair. And what's really funny, I mean, there's pictures of me all over in this. I actually took a white sheet to try and keep me a little warmer, and I just threw it completely over me. And they had all these people coming out of the castle. They'd had a party there. And all I could see while I'm underneath there is flash, 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 flash. Every time taking a picture of the ghost in the chair.
Well,
but that Leap Castle is pretty haunted itself. Matter of fact, it says it's the most haunted place in Ireland.
I mean, I saw that one also, I think, on Scariest Places on Earth.
Oh yeah.
So it's amazing.
Yeah, they didn't last long.
No, those people didn't last long. So do you have any other places that you would like to do a tour of? You know, like Transylvania, Germany? Yeah,
I would like to go to all of those places. I'm actually thinking about starting my own tour in Scotland because I saw when I could set it up, that's how it should have been when we went on the tour, you know, on another tour group that sent us up.
Right.
And the difference between those and mine was we actually went to the places I said we're going to go to because we missed out on a few things we were supposed to go on. And that wasn't really cool. So, yeah, I'm thinking about doing my own. And I think the lady that owns the company that we're going with, May Hernan, she said that if I decide to do that, see, Gina just said she would assist. Yeah, so, you know, I know a lot of people, and I do have, like I said, I've got a lot of contacts. Matter of fact, when we were there, the last time we got into places you're not supposed to get into. Well, you can get in, but they're really hard. Like we got into Bannockburn House for a private ghost hunt. We got into, what is the name of that place that I can never, Menzies, although they call it Menzies. I have no idea. I fight with them all the time. It's Menzies, Menzies. It's not Menzies. I don't care what you say.
Well, the other one sounds bad. You know, when you say Menzies, it sounds bad.
Yeah, but that's the name of it, and I don't care if they call it Menzies or not. I'm calling it Menzies. So, but yeah, there was some. We got to go to 3 different places that had never been ghost hunted. which was really cool. We got to ghost hunt the Writers Museum. We went to the Culloden Battlefield. We got to we went to Balgony. Well, Gina, if I get any say in it, next time we go, you're going to Bannockburn. The Writers Museum we went to, which was really interesting. Fairmaid's House, that was another one that nobody'd ever ghost hunted before. So we had a really pretty good ghost hunt thing going there.
Do you think it's possible because it was such a small group that people let you in to do this stuff? Because maybe if it was more people, maybe they would have said, nah, that's too much.
Well, the people that let me in were the ones that were in charge of letting people in. So I think it was a larger group we could. But if I do have a thing, I'm not going to have 25 people. Okay, and one of the other things I would do is I would have, one of the things they do with tours that I don't like is they rush you through things. Like the next day, there's another thing to go to, another thing to go to. And you're like in Edinburgh, Scotland. Wouldn't you like to see Edinburgh, Scotland one day?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just say, okay, tomorrow, have fun. And there's so many places you can walk to ghost hunt yourself. I mean, and I happen to know most of them. I mean, we've had some really, really interesting things happen when we've just been out wandering around. So, yeah, that's what I would do. I would have a couple of days where they could just say, okay, go anywhere you want. We'll see you tomorrow. And I think that would really make a big thing. Hey, Jeremy, talk to you in December. I'm on a show in December.
He's a good guy.
He is a good guy. And as a matter of fact, it was his show that I won the Paranormal Book of the Year award. And this is for you, Jeremy.
Oh, I was hoping it was. I was hoping you weren't going to moon.
No. I like Jeremy. Jeremy's a good dude. I just wanted to show that I have that on the back of my shirt.
Well, so just so you know, we are Things of Florida.
Uh-huh.
Carl is Things of Missouri. Of course, Kat is Things of Alabama. So we're all part of the same network.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, I knew that. I know everything about you guys. Kat says nice things about you people, by the way, just so you know.
She should. No.
She should. Why not?
Checks in the mail.
We've been friends for a long time, So there you go. November 22nd, you'll be on the week before Thanksgiving.
I'm looking forward to it. I got one in December too. Actually, it's really strange is I have 4 podcasts in the next 5 days.
Yep. I know all about that. I had to cancel one last week because I told Ron, I said, it's one thing to have 2 podcasts in one night when you're at home. It sucks to have them when you're out of town. So I had called somebody and said, can we reschedule? Because, I want to visit with the family as opposed to visit. I mean, yes, everybody, I love visiting with everybody, but I don't get to visit with the family as much. So I thought it would be best to cancel that. And from what I found out, more than likely it would have been canceled anyway because there was something else that happened to the people I was supposed to be on their podcast that night. So it worked out. So
yeah, sometimes things work out just because.
Yep. So,
you want to tell everybody, because we got some people that may not know who you are, but
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Tell everybody what your day job used to be.
I'm not all that sure what actually, I used to be a stuntman and a stunt coordinator, acted a little bit, tried to avoid it. But I've been in roughly 75 movies, mostly horror movies. My best friend, Kane Hodder, who plays Jason, we doubled each other on different things, believe it or not. Kane doubled me on a big fire stunt on Children of the Corn Part 5. I played the fire chief, and I go up on the top, and this big thing blows up on fire. And Kane is, in my opinion, and probably most everybody's, the best fire guy around. And it was a fantastic thing that looks, if you ever get a chance to see that, just look at the fire stunt. It was amazing. And everybody thinks I did it. And Kane goes, just tell me you did. Well, no, I didn't. Kane did it. So, yeah, there's done some pretty good movies. I mean, I got Chainsawed in Half and Hatchet too. And This Way, Up and Down. So, yeah, that was, and I have to tell you the story behind that. After we got chainsawed in half, there's another guy behind me. Kane comes out with this big long chainsaw, and we're trying to kill him. And naturally, you can never kill the bad guy in horror movies. And he takes this thing between our legs and lifts us both up in the air, and we get in half. Well, when they had the big premiere down in Hollywood, you know, we were all invited. So I'm sitting up in the not in the bleachers, up in the top above. You know, everybody else is down. I'm up on top. Yeah, and I'm watching the thing come along, and I'm waiting for my scene to show up. And here it comes with the thing, and I'm shooting him, and the other guy is shooting the sky and everything else because he's terrified, and he's hiding behind me. That's why we both get lifted up on the chainsaw. Well, they put in something in the movie that I didn't know was going to happen. When they hit me in the crotch and lift me up, these two round objects start falling down like on strings, right? And the place just goes batshit crazy when they see that. And it's still going, and they're still dropping farther and farther. And the place is just, I mean, this place is totally full because it's a premiere.
Yeah.
And people in the up in the thing with me, they're all turning around looking at me. And I'm like, oh, Lord. And then finally, when he finally gets up, they actually fall off onto the ground, and the place just went berserk. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be known forevermore as the guy who got his balls cut off. Matter of fact, in the next one, they had them up in a tree, and the guy comes up and he goes, what are these? The guy goes, those are some guy's balls. Leave them alone. But you know what was so strange? What was so strange is, and the really cool thing about there's 4 Hatchet movies. The last one's called Victor Crowley. Adam Green, the director, did something brilliant. When one movie ends, it picks up exactly the next one exactly where they left off. So it's really cool. And I get a phone call from Adam and saying, Rick, you need to double Kane. He's out of town, and we've got this one last shot we got to get in. I said, okay. So I'm in the Victor Crowley costume. And the chainsaw that he used to cut me in half, and our bodies are laying on the side because they've obviously made dummies, they're laying on the side. And Danielle Harris and Kane, which is me, Danielle and Victor are fighting, and she kicks him. He's got her around the neck, and she kicks him backwards, and he falls onto the chainsaw, right? So I believe that I probably am the only person that's ever been chainsawed in 2 movies in a row. So yeah, so that was pretty interesting. But some of the stuff you get to do in the movies is just so cool. And I'll tell you another one from one of the Hatchet ones. The very first one, Tamara Feldman was the lead actress. And there was a thing where I'm doubling Kane. I'm in the water. Kane. The reason I'm doubling Kane is not because he can't do it. He was also playing another character, Victor's father. Now Kane's a really good stuntman, but he can't be in 2 places at one time. And I can't play him, but I can play Victor because they put a costume on me. And there's a scene where I'm supposed to pop out of the water, grab Tamara, and rip her over the thing, and we both go underwater. So I told her, I said, Tamara, do you mind if I reach up and put my hand in your jeans? Because if I'm just grabbing at you, trying to get you, it's going to be real hard to really rip you out of there. And they can't see my arm, so I can put it in and be underwater and just pop up and just go, which I did. And I told her, I said, look, it's very important that we both go underwater, right? So don't come up. I won't hold you down there very long, right? So I do that, and as I pull her over, I haven't been in the water trying to go underneath with all the silicone and rubber and everything else that I got on. And as I throw her under and I go push her down, I'm floating. I'm trying to get under, and all of a sudden I feel these two little hands come out and go, yank, and pull me under. So Tamara, at a girl, she saved us on that scene. She yanked me underneath, so that was really cool. So little things like that, you get that all the time through the movies. But what was so funny is she was out on the big boat, and I had to move everybody aside. And I said, Tamara, can you move forward? I don't want to touch anything that I'm not supposed to. And she turns, she goes, you already had your hands on my pants. What are you worried about? From when I grabbed her, to lift her up.
Yeah.
So you get some pretty cool stuff when you're on the movie business,
Did you ever have a paranormal experience while filming a film?
Yes, and it was really pretty cool. It was I'm not allowed to tell you the name of the studio, okay. But we were filming one of the Hatchet movies, and I was talking to one of the security guys. He goes, "Yeah, the second floor is really haunted." And I said, "Can you let me up there?" And he goes, "Yeah." So I asked. This was so funny. You know who Tony Todd is? No. Tony Todd was Candyman.
Oh, okay.
And very African American guy, about 6'6", he's got a real deep voice. And Colton, the guy that was my partner, who also happened to be a black guy, we're both standing there. I said, "Hey guys, I'm going ghost hunting. You want to come with me?" And Tony Todd goes, "Oh hell no!" Right? And I said, "Colton, you want to go?" And he goes, "No, black people do not ghost hunt." It's okay, right? So anyway, I'm walking up, and this one girl who's one of the makeup artists said, or wardrobe, I can't remember. I think she was makeup. She goes, "Can I come?" I said, "Yeah, come on." So we go up there and we're ghost hunting, and these two other people came up. And they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "We're just checking for ghosts." And they said, "Really? Have you heard anything?" I said, "Well, we heard some voices right here in front of us." They go, "Really?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Our K2," and I showed her the meter. I said, "It's been going off. That can tell you that something might be there." And then they said, "Oh, wow, that's so cool." And they went back downstairs. Well, one of the actors and one of the security guys came up, and the one security is going, "I ain't afraid of no ghosts, blah, 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 blah." And he's just, provoking and going on. And he goes, "Are you seeing anything?" I said, "Well, when this goes off, that means the spirit could be here." And they said, "Well, have you seen anything?" I said, "Well, we saw a big shape go down at the end of the, right in front of the door. Matter of fact, we saw the feet going across, where the light comes in from underneath. You can see the feet going across, which is so cool." And while we're up there, the guy goes, "Well, I'm still not afraid of anything. What's that thing in your hand?" I said, "Well, if it goes off, it could mean that there's a spirit near us." He goes, "Well, I ain't afraid of no spirits." And it goes all 5 lights. And all you can hear, and I actually have this on video, but not them running away, but you can hear them running down the stairs. Turned around and ran away like you couldn't believe. So yeah, we do get to ghost hunt some places. I mean, Kane and I, when we were on different places, like we actually started in Mansfield. Our group actually started in Mansfield Reformatory because we were filming a movie there, and then we went out and we went ghost hunting through it. Why do I think a lot of old theaters are haunted? Good question. Would really depend on if anybody had actually passed away there or actually had a connection there. So, people seem to think, like there has to be some tragedy and stuff. It can't. It could just be somebody that really just had a real connection to a place and really likes it. So who knows about that? I mean, they could stay pretty much anywhere they want to.
Yeah. I'm noticing something here.
Yes.
You apparently have an entourage, and if we go on this cruise, it might just be you and Ron as the only male participants.
Cruise
or trip.
No, I think Mikey's going.
Okay, so that would be 3.
Mikey Thompson and Julie are both really, really sweet people. They're both nurses and very good ghost hunters. Julie's just getting into it now, but Mikey's actually he's very, very good.
Okay, there you go. So well, but I'm noticing that you have an entourage here.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe for you.
No, it's just when you get to meet me in person, I'm pretty easy to get along with. I love to have fun, and people just seem to hang around. Let's put it that way. And Johnny, my cousin, she just Kat put down Johnny's coming. That's my cousin. And he's a little wild man. So we'll have fun. Sherry is my other cousin. She's coming. So, by the way, if you're looking
to know each other really well by the time it's all done.
Oh yeah, if anybody out there is looking to come to us, Bonnie's coming. And by the way, Bonnie, I haven't forgotten your books. I'm waiting for one more to come in. Just Tracy Pino. I've ghost hunted with her. I wish she could come. Yeah, there's quite a few people that do come. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. You know,
it sounds like it's going to be a good time. So.
Yeah, so if anybody's interested, by the way, just let me say it's called Secret Ireland Tours, and if you look up Secret Ireland Tours on Facebook, or if you look up May Hernan, MAI, and then Hernan, you'll get more information. And if you're interested in signing up, now here's something that's cool. I'm not the salesman for this at all, but she is taking, payments along the way. So, it's all the way till September. If you really wanted to go, you got time payments to pay, and it's not as such a big smack as other places that make you pay the whole thing at once. So, and May's a wonderful girl. She's very, very, very Ireland, and she knows the ins and outs of the place. So we're going to have a good time. So come join us.
Great things about her.
Guys are welcome. Single girls are more welcome. I mean, I'm old. I'm old. I'm single. I need somebody to take care of me.
Well, sometimes people make plans for that single person to show up, and they just happen to be married. It's like, okay, my mom's husband's brother tried to get me to take care of him when my mother's husband died. He kept telling me, well, I have my own car. I have my own house. And it's like, I have my own car. I have my own house. I don't need you. He was 80 years old. He wanted me to come and take care of him.
I will tell you something kind of strange. A girl called me up and said, can you please come see if you can get something out of my condo in Malibu? And I said, okay, where do I park? She goes, park behind my Range Rover. And I said, darling, everybody in Malibu has a Range Rover. She goes, yeah, that's true. Right. She goes, I'll come out and get you. Right. So I pull up, she comes out and she's got a Ring doorbell. Right. And she calls me afterwards and she goes, you know what's so strange? She goes, both of the Ring doorbells went off. Neither one of them show you in a cat. Lori, one time we were in this castle and she loves the SLS camera, and she's masking everybody in the place, and she comes up to me and she's going, it won't read you, right? And she goes back, everybody comes back, she goes, I can't get you on the SLS. And I'm just sitting in the chair minding my own business. So I don't know, I think I might be on a different vibration than most people.
You may be part Transylvanian.
Never seen anything about it, but I'm okay with that.
So
by the way, I told you not to say anything about my Cinderella dress, and there you go, telling me about everybody being trans.
Pennsylvania. I did not say anything about that.
Oh, Pennsylvania. Okay, I misheard.
Yeah, I did not say anything. Like you're part Dracula, So, so how did you get involved in ghost hunting to begin with?
It's a really funny story. My mother did not have a lot of money. We lived in the south side of Chicago. And my grandfather died in one of those gun cleaning accidents, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
And he always wanted to be buried in Paducah, Kentucky. So my mom and I went on a train because we didn't have, we were short on money. So we get in the thing, we go down to Paducah, Kentucky, we go over to the funeral home, and that's where we find out that he's 100% Spartan and his name's not Kelly, because that's where we met his brother. Well, we didn't have a place to stay. We didn't have, because it was instant. We just had to go, right? And we said, well, let's go find a place to stay. And it's nighttime, and we're walking down trying to find a hotel. And we come across this one that looks perfect for any horror movie you ever met, because it's a 2-story brownstone with a sign outside, you know, a neon sign that's flickering, right? And it's not the best part of town. So we walked in there. I was 13 years old at the time. And we walk in and my mother says, do you have any rooms? He goes, we've got one left. And she goes, well, how much is it? She goes, okay, we'll take that. And he goes, I have to tell you, it's haunted. Now, I wasn't really close to my grandfather, only met him twice in my life, right? And being 13 and I heard that I'm going to be in a haunted room, I'm like, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! You know, I was like haunted ticket to Disney, you know, golden ticket to Disneyland, man. I'm excited. So we go upstairs and the place that we're staying in looks like a volleyball court sideways. It's all wood and it's a big rectangle. And on each side of the room is a rolling bed. That's where our beds are. So, you know, pretty emotional, you know, the whole deal, all the train trip and, you know, walking through the city trying to find a place to stay. You know, we hit the beds to go to bed. And maybe half an hour later, I hear my mother scream. So I'm all ready to jump out of bed and defend her with my, you know, 13-year-old self, which was like 5'2". So I'm getting ready to jump out and I look over and her bed is just racing across the floor towards me. Right. And I look over and then I realize mine is racing towards her. And the two of them smacked together in the middle of the room. Right. And we just sat there and looked at each other for, you know, probably like 10 seconds. My mother goes, well, I guess the guy downstairs is right. Now, my mother was borderline genius, really. She was amazingly smart. And we tried to debunk this long before the word was even anybody had ever even heard of this. So we took a glass and set it down and tried to get it to roll to see if the floors were warped because, you know, it was nice and round and wouldn't move. So I went over and I put my bed right next to the wall and put myself up against it and shoved it as hard as I could. And it went 3 feet. Now, these things both went 10 to 12 feet each and smashed into the middle. So that got me. I always like to say this is what had me, got me, well, hooked. was that one. So after that, and then I kind of found out that later on when I went to see my dad, and I say in the book that this is the most haunted place I've ever been, and it's not even close. I call it the most haunted house in America. And the things that happened, everybody that came there would always come back the next morning and we'd be having breakfast. We'd never tell them the place is haunted. And, you know, we'd be having breakfast. They go, your house, can we, you know, and I mean, it's haunted. Yes, it's, you know, yeah, we know, trust me. And everybody that came there, I mean, it was amazingly haunted. And you should get the book. By the way, I'm not trying to sell my book because any money that I get from my books, I give to St. Jude Hospital. And they're both on Amazon. So, and like I said, one's Paranormal Book of the Year and the other one's just as good. So they're pretty good reading. And you're giving some money to the kids at St. Jude. So, but yeah, that's a good cause. Yeah, there's some pretty damn good stories in there. And I'll tell you, the first time I went to this house, I got there, my friend and I had driven from Chicago down to my dad's house in Texas. And he had one of his workers with him, and they'd been having a party because it had been his birthday. They'd been drinking at the bar, and they met us at the house. And I was really tired because I did all the driving because my friend didn't know how to drive a stick, right? And they said, well, we got to take our friend back so he can get his car and go home. And I'm like, you've been drinking all night, and you're taking the so I can drive home? This doesn't sound like a good idea. So they jump in the car and they take off, and I go into the room I'm supposed to sleep in, and it looks like a woman's room because it's got the canopy bed and the kind of lace and stuff like that. And it's not a real big room. It's got a window at the end, like a big window, and it's got, you know, the moon coming in. And I lay down to go to bed, and right by my ear, I hear, what the hell was that? Right? I'm just tired. So I lay back down. He goes, even louder. And what is that? And then I thought, does he have a dog? So I get out and I open the door and I open up the closet door and I look under the bed. There's no dog. So I lay back down again. I hear it again, even louder. And I look up and I see that there's a air conditioning unit right there. And I said, oh, it's just turning off. And I go, wait a minute. It doesn't turn off 4 times, right? So I sit up, right? and right here behind my ear and on my neck, and I could feel a hot blast of heat on my neck, and it went on my neck. I jumped out of the bed, grabbed the door, and it had one of those slider locks. And I went out, and I'm not waiting for the slider lock to find it. And I just yanked the door, busted the door frame, and went outside. And I'm standing in the front, out on the grass. And my dad lived in a cul-de-sac, and here they come. After about 10 minutes, I'm outside, and I'm shooken up because this thing was definitely messing with me, right? And that was really my first adventure of something messing with me, other than the beds smashing. So I'm trying to figure out what's happening. My dad gets out, he looks at me, he laughs, he goes, "He got you, didn't he?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Ha!" And I said, "Oh, you know about that?" And he goes, "Yeah, we never tell anybody though." So that was my introduction. I was there for an hour. One of the things that else happened, we were all sitting there after that. And we said, "Well, what do you think the ghosts are?" I said, "Well, they're energy." And right between us, do you remember the old time flash bulbs, that you used to put on the thing? One of them went off right in between all of us in the room. Boom. And we were like, "Wow, this place is really haunted." Yeah, it was. Matter of fact, I had a Great Dane that was about 180 pounds. And one day I'm sitting on the floor, cross-legged, and he's sleeping. Everybody else is out of the house. And he rolls over and he goes up in like the Sphinx position. And he looks at me. Now, this dog loved me because I saved him from being, put down. And he followed me everywhere. This dog was, he was like my shadow. And he sits up and he looks at me, and his ears go down, his ears go, his eyes get slits and his teeth come up, and he goes, and I'm like, "Tubby, it's me," right? And he's only like 5 feet from me. And he's going, I'm going, "Tubby, it's me." And I thought, God, if I'm going to have to duke it out with this dog, this isn't going to be easy. Right? Because I'm sitting down on the ground, and he's like, he gets up halfway and he's trembling. He's so angry, right? And I'm looking at him, and I realize he's not looking at me. He's looking over my shoulder. And I thought, oh God, there's a burglar in the house. I'm the only one in the house. And I went, "Tubby, get him." And he went by me like, boom, like a rocket. And I jumped up to go helping him. If there's somebody in the house, I'm going to help him, take him on. And I jump up, and all I see, it's so weird, he's on his back legs, and I'm seeing it from behind. So I'm not seeing the front of him. I'm seeing the back of him. And he's going, and his arms are flying, and he's biting. And he's just going crazy, right? So finally I'm going, "Tubby, Tubby." And he comes out on all fours, and he's sitting there, and he's going. Now, anybody knows that those animals, when they get to that deep thing, they're serious, right? And he's going, finally he goes, and he turns around and he looks at me and he wags his tail, and he comes back, and I'm going, good boy. And I thought to myself, what the hell did he see?
Yeah.
Right? Because he went after it. And this was as vicious as I've ever seen a dog get. And I have to tell you this just because how I got this dog. I went down to visit my dad. He had a great big backyard, and we'd had Great Danes as I was growing up. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, why don't we get a Great Dane?" And he goes, "Let's see if you can find one." Now, this is 1979, and I found only one place around us that had Great Danes. It was a lady who raised Great Danes. And I asked her how much they were. And she goes, "Well, they start at $500. I was like, So I told my dad,
back then.
Yeah, that was. So my dad was a promoter. He had done Evel Knievel shows. We had done all kinds of stuff, which would bring in a lot of money at one time. And so sometimes he had a lot of money. Other times he owed a lot of money. Right? He was just that kind of guy. Well, this was one of the times he happened to have some. And he goes, "Let's go look." Right? So we go and made arrangements. We got to see this lady. And what is going on here? Got all excited with the dog and got blown out. But anyway, we go out, and she brings all these dogs out. And they're all show dogs, and they're all looking off in the distance like Brad Pitt. I'm like, come on, I want a dog. I want something to get him in headlock and give him a couple of whacks and have him bite me. I want to play with him, right? So finally she goes, "Well, that's about it." I said, "Well, let's see the other one." And she looks at me, kind of surprised. She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "You said about. There's another one." And she goes, "I can't show you him. He's the most vicious dog I've ever had." Right? And I said, "Can I see him?" And she goes, "No, he fights with every dog, and he bites everybody." I said, "Please, can I see him?" She goes, "Okay." She brings him out, and here comes this gorgeous animal. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. Pictures in the book. And he's 170, 180 pounds, huge dog. He looks like the Cal-Can dog. I mean, he's beautiful. And she brings him out, and he's got a muzzle on. And I'm looking at him in the eyes, and I don't see vicious in his eyes.
Yeah.
So I kneel down on one knee, and he's about maybe 5 feet away from me. And he's looking at me, and I said, take the muzzle off. She goes, no, I can't do that. And I said, no, please take the muzzle off, right? And she goes, I really can't. I'm telling you, this dog is vicious. I raised dogs for, this is the most vicious dog I've ever had. And I said, if he bites me, it's on me. She goes, okay. And she takes the muzzle off, right? And I'm looking at him, I went, hey, come here. And he looks at me, and I went, come here, right? And I tap again, and he walks up. I swear to God, this is exactly what happened. He put his nose on my nose and looked at me, right? And I'm looking at him. The lady's having a freaking heart attack because she knows he's going to eat my face, right? And he just steps back, and he walks forward, and he puts his head on my shoulder and puts it on my shoulder and just leans on me. And I start petting him, right? And I just push him back, and I said, sit, right? He looks at me, and I said, sit. And he still looks at me, and I slapped him on the ass. I said, sit. And he sits down. I said, what a good boy. And I'm rubbing his head, and he's like, right? And I looked at him, and I said, I want him, right? And she goes, you can have him. I said, how much do you want? She goes, no, we were going to put him down. I've never seen an animal connect to a person like that in my entire life. She goes, I've had 30 years of training dogs. I've never seen an animal react like that. And that dog, wherever I went, followed me every single place I went. That's why he was sitting next to me when I was. So, I mean, he was my dog. I mean, we were like soul connected. So.
How old was he when you got him?
He was probably 4 or 5 years old, maybe.
Yeah.
He wasn't a puppy.
Yeah, they don't live very long, do they?
All big dogs tend to die earlier.
Right.
And unfortunately, I had to give him away because we moved to Hawaii, and they wouldn't put him on the planes. Right. So we gave him to a lady that worked for us who really liked him. But that dog was something. He was really something.
Yeah, I had
But
a feeling you were going to tell us
with the hug he gave me.
Yeah.
And he saved us $500 too.
Yeah, Ron's a dog whisperer too.
Yeah. That's Omega, isn't it? Ron, when an animal comes
and a cat slave.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened to us when we run our tour in Scotland? I went out, and I was there a week before anybody else. And I just come back from getting something to eat, and I'm walking down the alleyway, and it's all cobblestones, and there's restaurants along the alleyways. They're actually streets, but they're more alleys. You're not really supposed to drive down them too much. And there's a bunch of ladies standing out. They just come out of eating, and they're all standing there, and they're looking at something. And I look, and coming around the corner, and on the other side of the street was a fox, right? And I looked over, and I said, hey, and it looks at me, and I said, come here. And it comes running across the thing, and it comes up right to my feet, just sits there and looks at me, and I go, hi. And he had a bad left foot because he was limping when he came across. Yeah. And I really wanted to lean down and pet him, but I was afraid to pet him because I might hurt him and he might bite me, right? So I just stood there and I talked to him, and I said, all right, well, I got to go, right? And I started to walk away, and he started to walk away, and it was like a damn Hallmark movie. I almost started crying. I stopped after about 5 steps, and I turned around and I looked, and he turns around and he looks at me, right? And we both look at each other, and then we turn around, we walk away, but it was like that big goodbye. You know, it was really something. Yeah. But animals seem to like me. Matter of fact, the girl that lives downstairs from me, I watch her dog all the time. And what's funny is I'm allergic to dogs now, but I'm not allergic to hers. And
maybe hers doesn't have dander.
Well, what's really funny is there's a dog, which is an Irish wolfhound, that belonged to the Laird. And I'm not allergic to him either. And he's a big old hairy ape, right?
Yeah.
So it's strange. I kind of think that maybe I'm allergic to some of the soaps that people use to wash the dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is possible.
because I'm allergic to like everything. I'm like the boy in the plastic bubble, you know. So.
Well, you don't want to be John Travolta.
Hey, what's wrong with John Travolta now? You know, he had a pretty good career, you know. Being Vinnie Barbarino.
Well, yeah, I remember Vinnie Barbarino. What my grandson did, what was hilarious, I don't know where they got it, but they were doing the Saturday Night Fever dance, him and Clover. So maybe Clover showed him from her life in the 70s being my mom. So I don't know. It was just kind of funny. So you've done all these different things in your life. What else? I mean, before you were a stuntman and in movies, what did you do? What did you do in between being a kid?
Went to college, played sports, screwed around. And then actually I got a degree in criminal justice. And part of my degree was I had to go do a internship. And the one place I went, they put me in with the detectives. Well, we went out, and the very first day I saw where some guy had raped a 3-year-old girl that he was supposed to be watching. And the next couple of days after that, I saw where somebody had shot a girl, and it was the wrong girl, right? Killed her. And I was like, I don't want to do this. You know, I wouldn't mind killing somebody if I had to, but I don't like seeing this. You know, it just, stuff like that makes me want to cry. I'm very sensitive about a lot of stuff. I don't watch horror movies because they bother me. I don't watch them. And but I saw this one girl that one guy was mad at his girlfriend. And they lived in a trailer, and she stepped out of the trailer at night. He just shot her in the head, and it was this younger sister. So I mean, it's just, I said, you know, I don't want to do this. You know, these people, you meet the scum of the earth. You know, you don't get paid much. You're out a long time. They can kill you. They shoot bullets at you. And I thought to myself, you know, the time that I was in college, you know, I graduated with honors, which means I've got to be kind of smart, right? And I thought, you know, there's another business where you have really pretty people. They shoot fake bullets at you, and they pay you a lot more money. Let's go do that. So I came out here and tried to be a stuntman. Luckily, bumped into some really good people that helped me, and it just went from there. Kane Hodder helped me so much. A friend of mine, Richard Friedman, who's a director, helped me a great deal. Adam Green, who did all of the, the Hatchet movies. Matter of fact, we did something that you can go to YouTube and look it up, and it's called Saber. What is it? Lightsaber underwear fight is what it's called.
Oh,
and they had a thing for San Diego Comic-Con for the best thing. There was something based on Star Wars. Now, which is really funny is my name, Rick McCallum, and the producer of Star Wars, we have the same name. So anyway, we did this one thing, which actually ended up winning the Best Action and Best Film, which was really cool. And I mean, these girls are fighting with lightsabers, and it's really cool. They're shorts, right? But yeah, it was just that was pretty cool. But the fact that it won the Comic-Con, film of Comic-Con was really a pretty good surprise.
Hey, Cassie. So, I know that a lot of people that are in criminal justice, they're a special breed of people. I just have to say that they're a special breed of people. And what's really unusual is the people that when they do their normal everyday work, they, like when you were doing your normal everyday work as a stuntman, you came across haunted things. They do too. And in that short period of time when you were doing your internship, did you come across anything paranormal at that time, or is it just real life was just way more than you needed at the time?
What I was seeing was overwhelming. I mean, I could have spirits all around me and I wouldn't have noticed. I mean, when you're sitting there and you're looking at a young girl. Matter of fact, my very first time I went on a call, this guy was one of the relatives was supposed to be watching the little girl, and he raped her, right? And the grandfather had called us over there, and he says, "Well, we should go over to the other place." And we said, "He's over there." We said, "Well, we better get over there and arrest him." He goes, "You don't have to worry about that. He's dead." Grandpa didn't take it very well.
Good for him.
Yeah, give him some points. Yeah. Thumbs up for Grandpa. So
yeah, we actually talked about something similar today. I said, I guarantee something that happens to one of my grandkids, nobody's going to survive it.
Yeah.
So I will.
That was my first movie. Somebody just said Lone Wolf McQuade.
When was that? What year was that?
That was 1982. It was a Chuck Norris movie.
Yeah,
I remember that movie.
Yeah, and that's where I actually, if you remember the very first movie, when he's up on the thing and all the rustlers are down below, and he comes down because they're going to kill the one guy if he doesn't surrender, and he's sitting there in the heavy set bad guy and all of leather. I'm on one side with a machine gun, and another guy we were holding Chuck, and he says, and he's got a real Hispanic accent. He's a Spanish guy, and he's really playing it up. And he goes, "Hey, Texas Ranger kicked my father's teeth out. You wouldn't do that, would you, Ranger?" So, Of course, you know what he does. He kicks him in the choppers. And then he flips me over, and I drop the gun, and he kicks the other guy out of the way. And there's all kinds of people up on if you remember, all the bad guys are up on there. And I'm on my hands and knees, and I'm going on my hands and knees to get it. He runs over, kicks me in the face, and I go flying backwards on the thing, and he picks up the machine gun and goes, so actually it was my fault that all my people got killed.
So when you talk horror movies, I can only tell you I've only seen a few because I don't do horror. I mean, it's weird. I can't watch them. I don't know anything about them. In most cases, people will tell me something about Friday the 13th or Halloween. And I'll go, you know what? The only thing I know is that my maiden name is Myers. And I teased. I told him, I said, if we have a baby, I have a boy that's born on Friday the 13th, it's going to be Jason Michael Myers. and I said, and it legally could be their name because family name, And but I told him, I said we didn't have to worry about that.
I bet that kid would get straight A's just because.
Well, I have to tell you this: you're gonna die laughing. We had an agreement that I would name the girls and he would name the boys.
Mm.
So with our first kid, we wanted to name our kids after family members. We thought. And the first one, it was like, we were teasing people. Okay. Just keep that in mind. We were teasing people. We had told them that we were going to name our son Chili Mookie. Chili. Yeah. Chili Davis and Mookie Wilson. Okay.
Tillamook Mudslide is my favorite ice cream, by the way. Tillamook. Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, he likes Tillamook too. But then we had some other family members' names that
they're baseball players back in the day.
Yeah, back in the 80s.
I was around then. I actually was a security guard for the White Sox dugout for a couple times.
Oh, well, I think Mookie Wilson, didn't he play for the Kansas City?
I think so.
Yeah, we lived in Kansas City
at the time. For the Mets.
Yeah,
you know what? They played everywhere back then. But I don't know. I mean, if it wasn't Eddie Murray or
whatever,
if it wasn't an Oriole, I didn't know who they were. Okay, that's all there was. But we teased about all these different names, and some of them were really crude. You wouldn't do that to a kid, but because this is a family show, I'm not going to say it, but I'll tell you later. But we lucked out. We had 4 girls, so we never had to name any boys, Jason Michael Myers or anything like that.
So Ron got kind of shut out there, man. That's not fair.
I know.
But I did let him help me name the kids because I ran out of L names and like didn't know what to name them. So, but it was, there was all these different things with the kids that, you love to tell the stories. Yeah. But, I'll have to share pictures of all these kids someday with you. But
I'll see them all in Ireland.
Yes.
I'll see all those pictures when we get to Ireland.
Yep. And then, you know what? All of our kids have had a paranormal experience. All 4 of them. One no longer wants to paranormal investigate ever. And the other one wants to, but she doesn't have time because she's got too many dogs. So it's interesting to see the kids' take on the paranormal as they get older. I don't know. Did you have any other family members that had paranormal experiences besides you and your mom?
Oh yeah, my dad.
Else?
Well, my dad.
Yes.
My stepmother did. My brother did. As a matter of fact, my brother. Here's something that in this place where you're at, he was about 13 years old, and he comes up behind me, and I told him, I said, "Don't mess with me. I'll get my ghost to get you." And he was afraid of ghosts, right? And he comes up behind me and he goes, "All right, have the ghost get me." He slaps me in the back of the head. He takes off running. So I start chasing him. And he's running around, and he runs into the living room, and he comes back up by the dining room, and he runs back into the kitchen. And my stepmother's in there cooking, and she sees him run by. And so he's running along, and he goes up. Now, you know how when you have the dining room, you usually have a spare chair up against the wall, right? He's running, and as he's running towards there, I said, "Get him, ghosts!" And he looks back at me, and the chair, flies off the wall, lands in front of him, trips him, and he goes flying into the kitchen, and he slides up next to my stepmother, and he starts wailing like a 4-year-old girl. Right? They really listen to you. They really listen to you. I said, "I warned you." But yeah, so he had many. I will tell you one. This is just kind of really cool. We had a heavy bag, a punching bag, and a speed bag out in the garage. And my brother was down visiting. He lived in Idaho, and like I said, he was 13. And the place was built like an H. I was on one end, my dad was on the other, and the living room was in the middle. Then next to my dad was the garage. And it's about maybe 2 in the morning, and here, boom, 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 somebody punching the heavy bag. And I was like, and I'm thinking it's my little brother, Cash, who, by the way, is in the Hall of Fame, the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. So he ended up being pretty good at punching things. But anyway, I get up to go back there to tell him to knock it off. The old man's going to beat him senseless, right? And as I get walking out, he's walking towards me. And he goes, "Somebody's in the garage," right? So it wasn't him. So we go walking over. My dad opens the door, and he's standing there with a pistol, and my stepmother, Vandy. And we hear boom, 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 boom inside the garage. So he goes like this. He goes, "Go out this way." And there was another door that was out on the patio. He says, "Get the dog, Tubby," right? He says, you and Tubby go in that way. We'll go in this way. Then nobody will be able to get in or out." So he goes, "All right, go." So we go charging in there. There's nobody in there. But if you say this is the heavy bag, which looks kind of like it, right? Yeah. We can see it, and it's going, right? It's going back and forth.
Still moving.
And then all of a sudden we hear the pop, and it only goes halfway, and it goes back. And we hear it boom, boom, and you can see it's like someone's punching it, right? Yeah. So we're like, "What the hell?" Right? So then it stops. So we go, "All right, let's move out of here." And as we start to go outside, or go back inside, just as you go by to go out the door is the speed bag. And I'm the last one going out. And just as I go past it, it goes like somebody hit it right behind my head. Right. And I turn around and I go, "Man, this place is so haunted. It's ridiculous." But my dad turns to me and he goes, "Leave the dog in the house." So it was, yeah. People out there, buy the book. Ghosts Believe Me. There's stories in there about that house that'll just make your toes curl. If that didn't do it, I don't know what would. But
when you were talking about your house in the Chicago area being haunted.
Yeah, it was.
Does that house still exist today?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I sold it. You know, my mom passed away, and she was very, very quiet about seeing things, right? And then finally, she tells me just before she passes away, we're sitting there. She's in the recliner that she liked to sit in, and she could see all the way down the length of the house and all the way into the back door. And she goes, "Oh, my Indian is back." What? What Indian? Right? And she goes, "Oh, there's been an Indian since we move in that'll pop up and just look in on me every once in a while." I said, "And you never thought of maybe telling me that?" Right? She goes, "Hey, he doesn't mean me harm. He's here to watch out for me." And then she turns and looks at me, something she never said to me. She goes, "I've seen ghosts my entire life." So, and then she passed away right after that. So,
do you see ghosts as they? How do you see ghosts? Do you see them?
Yeah, I've actually seen quite a few. Well, I can't say quite a few, but a handful of full body apparitions, and two of them I saw. I could have touched them; they were that close. In a very famous place, there's matter of fact, anybody ever watches Outlander, the yellow building that's one of the palaces, Ross, it's called. I went in there with Linda Whiteford, who was the docent of the place, and we went in, and there was only like me, Kat was there, Lori was there, I think. And as we walked in, we went through this small curved thing that went from room to room, and it was shorter than me. Right, so I had to sneak through because I'm 6'4". I'm, fairly big guy. So I had to sneak through there, and I turned around just as I got through, and I see a guy walk by. And we're supposed to be the only ones in the building because the building was closed. And I said, "Linda, is there somebody else in the building?" I said, "I just saw a guy walk by." So we go under there, and there's nobody there. And the thing that got me, I didn't see his head because I'm taller than the arch. I just saw from like here down, right? And I looked over there. He was walking fairly quickly. And what was so weird is that there was only about this much room on the side where he would have walked by. And he was walking fast. He would have gone splat, face planted, but there was nobody there. And I mean, I saw it was clear as a bell, right? And so I've seen several full body apparitions. And I mean, and it's, they'll shake you up a little bit sometimes.
Are they, when you see a full body apparition, is it just like a big blob, or is it somebody like, dressed in clothes and you can see their clothes?
The ones I've seen, the three that I have seen, or four, looks like somebody standing there. And I was in England at a place called Norwich Theater, and I was there with Anubis Paranormal. And we were downstairs this was an actual theater, it wasn't a movie theater. So it had all the stuff that you wanted. Yeah, matter of fact, this is what I'm going to tell you because it's in my book. There's a story. Anthony, this is a story I'm going to tell you right now. They had half of the basement with a big pipe about this big that went across, so you couldn't cross it because that's where all the lights and all the things for the stuff were at. So we're standing there, and I'm right up against the thing, and I'm with Mandy Fellows, who's the leader of Anubis. And I look over, and there's somebody in the dark, because we're in the dark, we've got flashlights and stuff, but I can see the guy, and he's no farther than 4 feet away from me. And he's got his head down, and it looks like he's looking at a telephone or a K2 meter. And I look over to say something to Mandy, saying, "You're not supposed to be on that side." Right? And her eyes are like this. And I turn around and there's nobody there. And she goes, "You saw him too, didn't you?" And I mean, that's actually on the back of my book because there's different things that people had seen with me. I said, "Yeah, sure as heck did." So, I mean, clear as a bell. He was like, I could have touched him. I could have reached out and touched him. So, but you got to understand something too. I've done this for 50 years. I mean, I may have been ghost hunting more than anybody in the world. Just to be honest. I mean,
I've been seeing spirits for 55 years, and I'm going to tell you, I'm only 29.
well, I can actually tell you that I've been seeing ghosts for 57 years.
Yeah. And for me, when I see a spirit, sometimes they look as solid as you and me.
Yeah.
And I can't tell the difference between whether or not it's a spirit or it's a real person. But for me, the one thing I notice is that if it's a spirit, 9 times out of 10 doesn't have feet.
I've never noticed that. I've never gotten that much into it. As a matter of fact, I do know that the one in Coolross, I saw his feet.
Yeah. It's just that's me, I think. I don't know. Yeah. But if you see me doing this, I'm probably looking for something to see what's down there.
Yeah, but there's so much. There's so many cool things that happen with ghost hunting, and I've had a very horrifying experience at Lep Castle. There's been a lot of really interesting things that have happened, and I'm so glad that I had that as a side thing to do. And I like the fact that I was able to write a couple of good books. I'm actually working on number 3, and it's super interesting. And the one thing, you probably know this too, because you probably get calls from people saying, "Hey, can I ask you a question about this?" And you've probably had people on your show. What's the one thing that you see the most, or people say the most? And I said, without a doubt, it's people seeing a loved one who died earlier in the day at the foot of their bed. Mm-hmm. I said, I get so many people say, and they're not even in the same state, and they'll say, "Yeah, I was laying there and I looked up and saw my grandmother at the foot of the bed, and about an hour later, I got a phone call saying she had passed." And I said, I must have heard 100 of those. Mm-hmm. The person that had passed and is standing there to say goodbye. So.
And I hear that a lot. We actually had a house that we lived in that I kept telling Ron was haunted, but I didn't say haunted. I just kept telling him, there's a boy in our house. And he didn't really get it until he got it. Once he got it, it's been, because I didn't tell him. I didn't tell him that I could see spirits. I didn't explain it. Because in the 70s, you didn't tell people you saw ghosts.
No. Back in the day, when you told somebody you did ghosts, they're like, "How do I get out of here?" Nowadays, it's like, "Oh, can we go with you? This is so cool." I mean, now it's a big thing, You were on Ghost Adventures? Well, yeah,
Yep, me too. And the first thing that everybody says is something nasty about Zach, and it's like, I can't say nothing nasty about him. He treated me kindly.
I like Zach. Matter of fact, I stunt coordinated his movie. And, he did a thing called Sympathy Said the Shark. So, and he was the first person I had an online magazine. He was the first person I ever interviewed. And I got to tell you, people undersell Zach quite a bit. He's very intelligent, because I wrote like a 2,500 words and I sent it to him. I said, "Tell me if there's anything you want me to take out." And 5 minutes later, he says, "Can you just change this a little bit?" So, he read it all that fast, put the changes in, he sent it back that fast. So,
yeah, I always tell everybody that he's a type A personality, and because his name is on there, he wants it to be perfect.
Well, you know what else too? I find, I think he's really kind of shy. Yeah. Really do. Of course, when Kane was on there choking him, might have made him a little more shy when he was around us.
Well, Anna Marie asks a question, and I'm going to tell you guys, this is going to be our last question because we got to end the show, but we're going to take our time ending the show, but this is the last question. She says, "Can you please talk about Gary/Greg from your book?"
I'm not sure what she's talking about.
Gary or Greg? Did you have somebody in your book that had a G in their name?
Probably.
Okay.
But I can't think of what she's talking about.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Dan, Kitty.
So, Anna Marie, if you could give us a little bit, or Anne Marie, sorry, if you could give us a little bit more information, which book it was in, maybe that would help jog Rick's memory.
Well, I do know something about a Greg. There was a person who told
friend
me
that protected you on the road.
Yeah. Well, that was my dad.
Okay.
That was my dad that protected me on the road. I have to tell you something really quick. You can see the bed behind me, and you can see the closet over there.
Yeah.
I was laying in there one night. Something grabbed my left foot and tried to yank me off the bed. Right, and I woke up, and I could still feel it pulling me. And I sat up, and I saw the back of my dad shoving somebody into the wall. And the two of them were, you know how you see when the guys are pass rushing and the tackle's trying to keep them banging into each other? That's what they're doing. I jumped out of the bed to help my dad, and they disappeared. So.
And she's saying that came from the book Ghosts Believe in Me. So everybody, please check out Rick on Amazon. You can find his books, Ghosts Believe in Me, there, and his other book, you'll find him. And he's working on a third, so keep that in mind. And any book that you buy with Rick McCallum's name on it, the proceeds go to St. Jude's. So really good cause. So I'd like to thank you so much for being on the show. Can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Well, the easiest way to find me is just find me by my name on Facebook, or you can look up Hollywood Ghost Hunters. You can look up Ghosts Believe in Me. Any of those on Facebook will come right to me.
Oh, and I'm going to tell you, be careful if you put in Ghosts Believe in Me, HTTPS, all that, Ghosts Believe in Me, comes up with a porn site.
Ghosts Believe in Me?
Yeah.
Is a porn site? Am I in it?
In Japan.
Be my only reference to be in a porn movie.
Yeah, last night I was sitting there going, oh shit, this is my work computer. And so it's like,
glad you told me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, go click on the link in your profile on Facebook.
Yikes.
So
yeah, here I'm trying to raise money for St. Jude, and they're showing porn. Well, let's charge them for the porn and give it to St. Jude. How about that?
Well, what's bad is that I clicked the link twice, just making, I went and I retyped it, and I'm like, this is the same link that I just clicked. So not only did I do it once, I did it twice, and it's like, oh shit.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
I appreciate you being on, and I look forward to visiting with you in Ireland, and maybe coming on again at some time in the future. But
anytime. I mean, we might want to have another time on there where we can promote the thing.
Oh, we definitely will.
About how many spots are left on that? Do you know?
I don't know, but I do know that there can't be a lot of them left.
Right.
Because I mean, I can think of over a dozen right off the top of my head.
Right. That's what I thought.
You're welcome, Anthony.
So thank you guys, and make sure you join me here every Monday night for the Paranormal Pride. And next Monday night, my guest is Brett Yacobochi. Say that fast 5 times. So he's going to come on. We're going to talk about random stuff. And whatever he's doing now, he will be a repeat guest. I had him on probably 6 or 7 years ago. So for all you guys, it'll be new. Join us tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central for Paranormal Nation Radio Not So Normal. And our guest will be Sharon Day. We will be talking a little bit about the weekend that we just came back from at Ashmore Estates, and some things at McPike Mansion with Carl and Ron. So make sure you join us for that. And
I don't know if they've had time to go over any evidence on that experiment.
And most likely the Tuesday following next Monday, we will not have a Paranormal Nation Radio Not So Normal because it is election day. So make sure you guys go out there.
We'll be on a different show.
Yeah. Vote early, vote often. And remember, if you don't vote, I don't want to hear you complain.
Wait a minute. What's this vote often? Are you from Chicago?
No, actually what I usually say is Republicans vote on Tuesday, Democrats vote on Wednesday.
And Thursday and Friday, and however many they need.
You don't want me being in charge of it. But
well, actually I got interviewed about because I had been a precinct captain, or not a precinct captain, precinct judge on the south side of Chicago, which is as democratic as you can get.
Right.
And I was like the only person on that side that wasn't, right? So they got me to watch. And I got to tell you, they asked me, they said, have you ever had anything? I said, yeah, my job was making sure that in Chicago that the dead people only voted once.
Right.
Well, we were election judges, or not judges. We were we worked at the elections in Kansas.
Election official.
So we did that during COVID, because a lot of the elderly people that they usually did it didn't want to do it. So we ended up doing that, and we learned a lot about the process. We're going to be looking into getting involved here in Florida. But I have a feeling they have enough Republicans. They may not have enough Democrats. So don't know.
That's someone else's problem.
So, but yep. So vote and make sure it counts. So
I
go
still
do
like
that.
to vote often.
Vote early, vote often.
I'm telling you, that reminded me so much of Chicago. I mean,
we'll be on the Conservative View next week, and I think we're gonna start. Is it about 5 o'clock next week, Carl? Next Tuesday? Yeah.
So there you go. We're going to be watching.
Hey, Carl, thanks for having me on.
So bye, guys. See you tomorrow night at 5 p.m. and next Monday at 7. So make sure you guys keep your calendars open. You never know what I'm going to be talking about. So have a good night, and we'll see you.